Remember last year we kind of went through the Spyderco 2008 product guide. At that time I just did a quick page-by-page thumb through showing you some designs I liked, some I didn't. One I did not, and I have owned this knife before, is a standard Spyderco Native. That's contrary to pretty much a lot of other people that love the knife, swear by the knife. I do think it's a high value blade. They give you CPM S30V steel for a low price point. That's excellent. But I've never been a real big fan. I'm going to use an Energy 1740 as my pointer today. Never been a big fan of this grind pattern on the spear point blade. I don't like the swedge up here. I definitely don't like Spyderco serrations. I've said that about some other reviews. Not a horrible knife, but when I owned mine, I just couldn't warm up to it. However, and I've lost the product guide that showed this, they had at that time announced a Native 4 with carbon fiber handles. I showed some enthusiasm about that blade in the product guide. I wish I had that supplement. I would show it to you. And I said, hey, if I can acquire that for the Nutnfancy project, I will. Guess what? Acquired for the Nutnfancy project. Here it is. This is a Native in carbon fiber scales. And I am much more excited about this blade than I was the standard Native. Now, to get the name right, it's a Spyderco Native4 carbon fiber. This is not an easy knife to find, at least in my own hunting. It was hard for me to secure it just for review purposes, truth be told. But here it is. Now, I am much more impressed with the design of the Native4 carbon fiber over a normal Native. One reason, let's get right to it, the blade. I love full flat ground blades, and you can see there's no funky grind pattern going on this spear point blade on the carbon fiber version of the Native. It is full flat ground. Love it. It's a beautiful blade. VG10 steel by Spyderco. In my use of VG10, like I said with my Centofonte 3 review, it's a great steel. It wears nicely. It holds a very fine edge. It's easy enough to sharpen. And I've been fairly impressed with its rust resistance, at least in my own use, kind of dunking it into fresh water, not salt water. VG10 steel is a good steel. I love the blade design on the the Native 4 carbon fiber. It's a lot to say. Let's just call it the carbon fiber version of the Native. Nice finish on there, bright, got the Spyderco logo there. The upper swedge is ground down just a little bit. Yeah, brace yourself, here comes yet another criticism. There's no jimping here. It sucks. Why don't you put jimping on? I'm laughing because I always say this, but it's true. There's got to be jimping on an upper blade like, especially at this price point, which pretty much sucks. This is an expensive blade. Don't know if it's the carbon fiber that's so special, but this knife is $110, maybe more, if I'm not mistaken. Depending on where you get it, again, I hate to talk specific prices, but it's not a high value knife. In fact, I'm going to term it a low value knife, so that speaks even more to the fact that it should have jimping up there. If this is a high-end knife where we're going to go to the trouble of putting carbon fiber scales on there, which by the way are gorgeous, they're beautiful, like them, they add a lot of aesthetic value to the Native 4 carbon fiber, like it. But I mean, let's go for the full round. I mean, they did it on the bottom in the finger indent. That's nice, and that is one of the selling points of the Native design, at least according to Spyderco, is the ergonomics of the blade. You can choke up with your index finger, really lock it in. Easier to do when you have jimping. And then you have the middle indentation that would supposedly accommodate that middle finger, and now you have a lot of cutting control and performance out of the edge. Okay, I'll buy that. Just missing the jimping up here. You know, it's kind of like putting two performance tires on your Corvette on the front of the car, and yet the back of the car, the most important part, you've got two spare tires. That's kind of how I look at it. It's unfinished design. And with a knife of this caliber and cost, I don't know if I would take my Dremel tool and just do it myself. You know, you ruin the second kind of cool, and that is the collectability and the enjoyment that it is a stock design. Most guys won't do it. I wouldn't either. How's the lockup on this one? Nice. Tight. No movement side to side, up and down. Absolutely bank vault solid. Edge razor sharp as it comes out of the box. Native4 CF. Very nice. The handle scales are beautiful. I said that already. However, they pretty much suck for traction. Expect none. None at all. I mean, so if you go with a Native4 CF, it is a very cool blade, but you are giving up the first kind of cool, i.e. absolute utility, for the second kind of cool, aesthetics in this case. It's very impressive in presentation. It looks good. Carbon fiber usually does, but as you can see, it's very smooth on the side with no texturing whatsoever. So you can't get something for nothing. We did give something up with the CF scales on this. Maybe in one way we gained something too, though, and that is a very slender and compact handle material that makes the Native4 CF very comfortable in carry. Look how flat that knife is. I've criticized some other blades because they're so chunky, thick, and big in carry. What was it, the Cold Steel Lawman? American Lawman, I kind of criticize that. Very thick, very chunky, very wide profile. Native actually, or the CF version, kind of has a wide profile this way, but look how flat that is. Very flat. So you do gain that with the CF scales. While we're here, look at the lockback. Do you notice anything different, you Native fans? You should, because it lacks the David Boy detent of a normal Spyderco Native. You can see those Zytel handled versions right there. Interesting. I don't think that's a showstopper at all. In fact, I don't think the David Boy detent is that big of a deal. You know, like I've said in some other reviews, I don't think I grasp that knife hard enough to actuate the lockback unless the design is kind of jacked up in that the spring isn't strong enough, maybe a la Cold Steel Black Rhino. As I criticize that one, that is one where I probably would like an indentation and definitely a stronger lockback spring. But here's a pocket clip, Spyderco version. Nothing really to report there. I like Spyderco clips, and this one's no different. Blackened, which I think goes along thematically well with the Native4 CF. Decent. You know, that could be milled out a little bit more, but that's just a minor quibble. Carriage and pocket, it does stick out a little bit further than I'd want to. That's kind of a trade-off by having that lanyard hole present here. Otherwise, maybe we could mount the clip clear up here, which I would like, but can't get everything. Not a flow-through design, of course, because it is a lockback. Therefore, the day may come when you may have to take the handle scales off. Yes, you can do that with the mini torque screws to service the blade. Also, the pivot point is adjustable, but I think as I noted earlier in the review, you shouldn't have to do it. This thing locks up tight, probably will stay tight. I love Spyderco blades overall. Great fit and finish. They're right up there with Benchmade, Kershaw, and other high-end production blades. Just love it. Overall, I will say the Native carbon fiber version, if I can speak, carbon fiber version is a very handsome blade. Very comfortable in carry. I'm going to put it in the POU of everyday carry blade. Definitely not emergency defensive. You could put this in emergency defensive role, but I don't have a thumb ramp. I don't have jimping. It is a small blade, not very big. Yeah, it would cut nicely, pierce nicely, but to me this is more of an EDC blade, and a handsome one at that. It does give up, like I mentioned, a little bit of functionality in terms of aesthetics, but some guys will just dig that. It is still a low value blade. I was dismayed to see the pricing that Spyderco put on this, and I really don't think that the carbon fiber is that expensive to produce. I mean, I've seen carbon fiber accessories for automobiles that are a lot cheaper than this, and they use a lot more carbon fiber than this. This really is not a lot of CF material. I don't know, though. I don't know their structure. It just is kind of an expensive blade. For you users that love your natives, this is an interesting upgrade you might want to think about putting in your collection. Decent blade. Lightweight, fast, good looking. Nutnfancy, another knife review. This is a Spyderco Native4 CF version probably limited production. It will probably go away within a year or so. Get it if you want it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the good ratings and the support. More knife reviews and adventures coming your way when I get the time. See ya.